Good evening. I'd like to call the June 14th, 2018 meeting of the Middletown School District School Board to order. Mr. Gomez, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
It will be my honor. Let us rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you please remain standing, if you would, for a moment of silence? The moment of silence this evening is for Dawn Regina. And Dawn Regina is the mother of Jillian Crawford, who is a member of our technology team. Mrs. Regina, a very, very spiritual woman, a woman of prayer, a mother, daughter, grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend. She had many professions over her 62 years, but she was most proud of her organizing and opening a salon, The Completed Look, when she was 50. And this was her lifelong ambition, and she pursued that. She went to cosmetology school and opened up her own sole proprietor salon, again called The Completed Look. She attended family church for a good number of years. She loved God and had strong faith. And her motto was Eagles Up, described as this: eagles are bold, honest, rise above the storm of life, consistent and fiercely devoted. When faced with a challenge, she would say, Eagles Up. And Jillian Crawford, her daughter, is very well respected, a hard worker, and I'm sure Mrs. Regina was the same. So please remember Mrs. Dawn Regina in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you so much. I should come over and get a hug too there. Yeah. Mrs. Knapp, mission.
Mission.
Right.
Apparently, he gave it to me. We strive to provide fiscally, I can't even, sound educational opportunities in a safe environment that continuously supports our diverse student population. We will enable all students to graduate, to reach their full potential, to become lifelong learners, and to be competitive, productive members of society.
Thank you, Mrs. Knapp. As usual, an excellent job. Mrs. Clark, could you please call the roll?
Here.
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 Thank you, Mrs. Clark. Next item, approval of the agenda as presented. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We had a tie on that one. You select. We don't have the cameras here, as they do in the sporting world. All right, so we have first and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approval of the regular minutes. Motion to approve the regular minutes of the June 7th, 2018 school board meeting as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Gomez and Mrs. Knapp. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approval of the superintendent's contract, motion to approve the superintendent's contract as presented.
So moved.
Did you get that? Yes. Any further discussion on that? I think we'll do a roll call on this. Any discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, formally. Thank you. Thank you. Now we come to recognitions, announcements, and community reports, and we have a very special, two special recognitions this evening. The first one is Glenice Foglia, Middletown Lions Club, in charge of the No Kid Hungry program. Glenice, would you like to go to the mic and sum up the program this year? You did a yeoman's task, and I'm going to get up because
I left my reading glasses in the car, but I have to hold it like this. Okay. Today we finished our last backpack. This was the 7th school year. And the best thing is, for 33 weeks, we filled 81 backpacks each week. We filled a total of 2,673 backpacks, provided 21,384 meals to our elementary school children, and 13,265 snack items. And the best thing is, just about every week they got a fresh piece of fruit in their backpacks. So it's been an amazingly great year. And this is the part that's truly special. Church members, the Board of Education here, our elementary school teachers and the administration and the community has been so supportive. 15,000, and I counted every single one of these, 15,248 individual items of food were donated by the community, which meant that 5.7 items each week went into the backpack, which was a donation from the people in this community. They've been so amazingly supportive. It's been great. Love it. And this is the second year, too, when Orange Cares sponsored us, and the Food Bank of the Hudson Valley provided some food. And unofficially, I've been told that they're going to work with us again in the new school year, which is astounding. I didn't think they'd do that for 3 years in a row. This school year, we adopted we provided 6 backpacks for the Truman Moon children, the special ed children. And we've worked closely with Nicole and Crystal and the nurse. And today I got a card that each one of these children had signed, and I got a box of dark chocolate mints, my favorite candy. So I thought that was awfully, awfully sweet. Anyway, every week I work with the teachers, I work with the administration, I work with the school staff, the secretaries, and I work with the custodians. And I have to tell you, I'm proud of them. You should be proud of them. They're an amazing group of people that we're working with in the school district. Thank you.
thank you. The No Kid Hungry program, if people don't know, it picks up where we left off, because our district supplies meals, breakfast and lunch, to all of our students. But on Monday through Friday, on the weekend, we can't do as much, of course. So this is where Glenice and her crew pick up.
That's right.
And I want to compliment St. Paul's Methodist Church, Linda Knapp's church, because this is where the backpacks get packed.
Yes.
The food gets packed. And the second thing, Glenice, you can provide a few more meals, because, as I promised in the election campaign, I did not want to put up signs, because I'd rather give the money that I would spend on signs to the No Kid Hungry program. So this is a check.
I hope you put up a lot of signs.
This is a check for you, Glenice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've been so supportive.
Next, very special recognition this evening. Mrs. Knapp is writing her retirement speech. Is it a retirement speech? What is that, Mrs. Knapp? But we have, before I go on, we have the Knapp family here this evening. They're the support team. We have Annie Knapp, Grandma Knapp. We had Joe Knapp, and we have Melissa Knapp and Deanna Knapp. And Melissa Knapp and Deanna Knapp are products of the Middletown school system. Melissa is an attorney, and Deanna is a college professor. Well, counselor, professor, that speaks highly. But, you know, I want to just say a couple words about Mrs. Knapp. Mrs. Knapp's favorite motto, and I don't have anything written up, it's going to be a little bit from memory here. Mrs. Knapp's favorite mantra is, I'm only a nurse. But you have to understand that nurses are skillful and devoted and very incisive in their thoughts. We could not get along in the community without excellent nurses as we have. And Mrs. Knapp not only is an excellent nurse, but she has been an excellent board member for all these, 15 years. Mrs. Knapp not only runs the concession stand, and she's not only there for the stand, but she assembles all the food, and she goes shopping, and she cleans up, and so it's really a big job. She's there to all hours. She's the boss of the concession stand. Don't aggravate her when she's in the concession stand, as I like to do every once in a while. But anyway, that's one thing. She runs a plant sale. Over the years, she's served on a number of committees: the audit committee, safety and security committee, the buildings and grounds committee, the new school committee, just to mention a few. So, as I say, nursing is extremely important, but your service on the board is very important. My nickname for Mrs. Knapp is Columbo. I don't know if anybody remembers, that was an old TV series where Peter Falk, who recently passed away, played a detective. And he kind of was a detective, and the people thought they could get away with things. But they soon found out that this guy was an exceptionally brilliant person. And Mrs. Knapp is an exceptionally gifted and brilliant person. She asks the questions, and sometimes she asks the hard questions that nobody thinks of asking. Going back, that's part of her analytical skills, I figured out, of being a nurse. But she's been just a tremendous asset. She's always willing to help everybody and anybody in need. She donates to the No Kid Hungry program. She donates to a lot of causes for the kids. She arranges the track banquet along with the Hipsman family. So I just can't say enough about her service on this board and the service to the students of the community. Now it's Mrs. Knapp's turn to delineate all the projects that we've both been involved in. A number of us have been involved in over the years. So go ahead, Linda. The floor is yours right now.
So 15 years ago, John and I started on this board. It's a long time ago, right?
Yes, it is.
So many years ago, our daughters had the privilege of going to Manhagan Middle School and Maple Hill Elementary School, when they were first built. They were into those first grades, and they were very thrilled about that. It was an exciting time, and they were eager to participate in everything that Middletown had to offer at that time. So during the first parent-teacher conference that year, at that time I worked in the OR at the hospital, and we have a lot of call, and we have a lot of, we can't get out when the shift's over, and so my time was a little bit full. So I had a parent-teacher thing with one of my younger daughter's teachers, and she commented to me that she was having some trouble with her. And she wasn't, she just was having some trouble, and she couldn't get her to do what she needed to do. So, being at my analytical thought, I said, well, I found that if you step back and you come at a different angle, usually you can get her to do whatever you want her to do. She's here. So, and that was what I said at that time. So she said, well, I do not have time to play games. And that proceeded with getting me involved in the PTO and on the board. So I sat back and I very nicely said, well, then you are going to have a very long year because you're not going to change her. So that was our whole thing. So I ran into the PTO, and then I was president, and somebody said, you really should join the board. Get on the board. I'm like, well, okay. What does that involve? 2 meetings a month. That's all it involves. 2 meetings. I'm like, oh, I think I could do that, right?
They sold us all that.
I know. They sell us on all that, right? Yeah. So that's how this all began many years ago. I ran for the board, just finished my 15 years. Little did I know what I got myself into. I'm trying to read it, but not read it, okay? The first year on the board was very difficult. I don't know if people remember back. I don't want to bring things up, but it was a very chaotic time for us. And it ended, it was way beyond 2 meetings a month. And the chaos that evolved from it was just amazing. Here I am coming on the board, and I have no lawyers, and all of a sudden I had 5 lawyers, and I was like, oh, what am I doing with this? We got a summons to our duct tape to our front door for $60 million. And I said to my husband, Joe, what do I do with this? I'm like, what is this about? In that first year, I ended up going to the grand jury. I never did that before. So one of the unique abilities of the people in the grand jury is they try to repeat the question numerous times to see if you'll change your answer, okay? That's one of the things. So you're asked like the same question many different ways. So finally, after probably about a half an hour, I said, what part, this is my short fuse part, what part do you not understand? I was not on the board at that time. Simple. I can't tell you about emails. I can't tell you about anything. I was not on the board. So that was one of the more exciting things that we had done back then. But then we got into doing a couple good things. Due to that circumstance, we had to hire a superintendent. And that is a very important thing for a Board of Education to do. So we went out. The funny part is that you think you can get, like the people would say, oh, they all knew, everybody knew. You can't get even 9 people to decide on what time to have the meeting, nonetheless, on what you're going to discuss or what your views are. But one of the great things that we had was Dr. Eastwood came. He had a vision and an insight that we kind of took in because we had been in all this chaos for a couple years. And we're like, I mean, I remember thinking, what in heaven's name can we do? You know, I don't know. I'm just a nurse. That's my theory. We wanted to try to, we always have to remember there's no one set way of doing something. You can do it 2 or 3 different ways. Your outcome is going to be the same, but you just have to be able to look at it at different ways. One of the craziest things I remember as a board member was when the guardian angels came. Here they are coming. They came to our meeting and stood at the door in the corners of the room. This is when we were in the old boardroom.
That was one of the 3 a.m. meetings.
Yeah. Oh, I still can't explain why they were there or what they were doing, but who were they protecting and who for what? You know, I was like, I'm not sure. And that was another thing at that time. We were frequently there till 2 or 3 in the morning, from like 6 o'clock for meetings. And I had to get up and be at the OR at 6:30, ready to operate on people. And I'm like, this is just not for me. This is not something I can do. Not that good. I'm sorry. I'm just going to try. So, with Dr. Eastwood's insight and the community support we had, we were able to make many positive improvements to our district. So I'm just going to list a few of these. I only have like 12. I'm sure I'm missing some, but we probably, in 15 years, that's not too bad. So initially, we expanded the high school gym. We had the extra gym added on. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Tom will remember when I went to he was showing us all the construction, and I had flip-flops on, and I'm climbing ladders. He did shake his head at me. We were able to build this school. This is a wonderful building. We had a few setbacks in this, and it ended up being a little, Charlie was supposedly, what do I want to say, special thing that some people were trying to say. What was that?
Historical building.
Historical site. And then we had some water issues, but we made it through that, and we have a big, beautiful building, and it's almost full. So that's a good thing. We expanded the high school again. We put a 3rd floor on, and we put in the innovative lab, which is like state-of-the-art. Just amazing how that could be. We did blended learning. All the children in the district have a Chromebook. Can you imagine that? I don't have a Chromebook, but all the kids do. But they know how to use it. I don't. 10 years ago, we developed a strings program, which has just progressed, and we've got so many people participating in that now, so many of the students. Initially, back 15 years ago, John and I were very big proponents of the SROs at that time. So we were able to get them for, 2 or 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
And then, of course, we lost the funding for those. So we couldn't have those anymore. But hopefully now, when we have them, we're going to have them again this fall, and hopefully we'll be able to keep that funding up. We have the most beautiful stadium that you've seen in a long time. It's. I also have the little Linda Knapp concession stand, as everybody knows. One of the things that we always hear is how the parents from Long Island or upstate come and say, this is a beautiful campus. It looks like a college campus. It's just really extraordinary. That was one of Dr. Eastwood's insights, because when he first came, the track was terrible, and the kids that did track had to be trucked to bused to Port Jervis to practice, because the kids were getting shin splints and they weren't able to run on the track. So now we have this wonderful track. We bring in a lot of money to the district and also to the community. All these state meets that we have, all these kids stay overnight in the hotels, they eat in the restaurants. It's brought a lot of opportunity for Middletown. We also have college courses now, free of charge to any of the kids in the high school. How awesome is that? When my daughter was in high school, I paid $900 for a Syracuse university biology course. But now everybody has the opportunity to take those courses and be able to excel in something that would not need a financial help for that. I think that's a wonderful thing. You can end up with at least 2 years of college courses when you get out of high school. How wonderful is that for parents? Nowadays, I think it's like $50,000 a year for kids to go to college. So the parents are saving. They can't transfer all of the credits, but they're saving a lot of money. So that's a very good idea. We ended up with the Home and Careers program, and we put that in the back of the library, and now we have 2 people in that position. Years ago, my daughters did sports, and there was nobody to help them with the NCAA? Did I do it right? NCAA education that was needed, and the filing for the forms, and make sure you're taking the right courses and all that. None of that was available in 2000s. 15 years ago, let's do it that way, okay? Food Service Department. They have gone from in the red to the black. They have done exceptional well. They are now able to feed all the kids in the district breakfast and lunch free of charge, and they provide all the athletes a snack in the afternoon, a good snack. So, we expect these kids to go to practice after school at 2:30 and not eat till 5 or 6 at night. But now they have a snack it's a fruit, a juice, and some kind of sandwich or something. So they're not starving and trying to do their best with no energy. And one of the last one to talk about is the race to the top. Between Dr. Eastwood, Mr. DelMoro, and Mrs. Creedon, we had one of the greatest opportunities that we probably will ever see to be one of the 20 people in the United States chosen for that. And I have to give kudos to everybody involved in that. It was awesome for us. We have been nationally recognized. Middletown, nationally recognized, Dr. Eastwood had visions for our students to be competitive and able to learn like every other child. I have always, one of the words of wisdom that he said when he left was, you had a gem 14 years ago in the Middletown School District. You still have that gem. It just needed to be polished. So with his insight, with our insight, I'm going to miss John. He calls me every morning. I'm not sure how that's going to work anymore. But with all the insight and things that we have done in the past 15 years, I have to say how proud I am of the district, the board, and what we've done. I'm looking forward to that continuing. I've always tried to be very transparent. I think everybody knows what I'm thinking. Many of the times, I don't even need to say it. I always tried to hold up my fiduciary responsibility for the community and the district. It's been a very interesting 15 years. I'm not sure how I did it all with work and children and all the other things, but I did. I will miss some aspects of this, but I look forward to trying to find a new hobby and a new adventure with Joe on our retirement.
Would any members of the Knapp family care to say anything at this point?
Melissa's the speaker.
Okay, so I have absolutely nothing prepared. My name's Melissa, for the handful of people here. 2004 graduate of Middletown. Dr. DelMoro was my elementary principal. So, we go way back. I was a junior in high school when my mother was entered on the board. We've been through a lot as a family. I have to say, when I went to law school, she would tell me, you should practice education law. You should practice education law. And I said, no, of course not. And guess what I practice? Education law. So I know very well firsthand what board members go through on a daily basis. You sign up for 2 meetings a month. You're not doing 2 meetings a month. Besides the barrage of emails you get, the phone calls you get every day, crises that come up, I know it's a full-time job, plus the full-time jobs that you have. And so I have to say that I respect my mother for putting up with it for 15 years. I was definitely that person the last round of elections that said, are you sure you want to do that again? But I appreciate that she came to terms. She ended on her own terms, and I'm very excited for the opportunities that she will have with my father. I am a little worried she'll be bored. You guys have kept her busy for many, many years. But I'm knowing my mother, she'll find something else to do. So congratulations on all your years of service, but I'm so glad you're done.
I just want to add one little thing. It's not actually one little thing, but I'm really tall, so I'm going to lift this up. So I want to point out that our mom, a lot of things that all the board members and people in the community don't realize is that first she is a mom. Like they see her as a board member, they see her as a nurse and things like that, but she was at every single one of our events. My sister said today to me, when I was trying to decide if I was coming today, and she's just like, just think of all the things that moms come to. She went to every single one of our sporting events. She came to every single one of my track meets, even in college. She would drive to different states, and she was always there. She always did the volleyball concession stands when I was in high school. She did all my track concession stands when I was in high school, which is what she's still doing. And I graduated 10 years ago, and she's still doing it all the time. She's still super involved. She was always there waiting for us after school with a sandwich or something if we were getting ready for practice or if we were getting ready to go to a game or a track meet or something like that. She was our best coach and our best advocate, always pushing for us to succeed and do well. We're both, I would say we're both successful. She's a little more successful than I am, but
Second master's?
I did just graduate with my second master's degree. And in elementary school, my teachers probably thought that I wouldn't even graduate high school or college. So I will say that thanks to our parents, that's how we got to where we are today. And my mom is just an amazing person. So thank you.
And she's the shortest of the bunch. I know, I'm the short one now.
And congratulations, Dee, on your second master's degree. Nice job on that. Anyone else on this topic? Joe, do you want to say anything? Annie? Well, now we have, you're not going to get away yet, Mrs. Knapp. We have a little bit.
All right. Sunflower, Dee.
I know, that's what I just said.
Oh, I did. A plaque. I told him, don't give me a plaque. I don't need a
You'll
plaque.
appreciate that in future years when you're sitting in
That's
the
16 years.
rocking chair.
We've been here 16 years? I thought it was 15. I've been telling everybody 15.
Here, you got something else here.
Want me to read it?
Thank you.
I'm going to read the plaque. I'm going to read the plaque. The plaque reads, in recognition of your years, in recognition of your service, Linda Knapp, school board member 2002 to 2018 in Large City School District of Middletown. Congratulations.
Photo, yeah.
Just a nurse, that's all I say.
Come on, everybody, come on up.
Where are we going? Got a plaque. Very nice.
But she's a nurse. She doesn't do math.
I'll give you your pain medicine the way I do math. We should make sure. I'll always come back and say hi.
Right here in the podium. I have aspirations. I have goals. City Hall.
I thought it was 15.
Joe said keep calling it. My calls usually come in at 6:30 in the morning, so that's it.
Technically, her 16 years are not complete
Kevin,
until
Kevin, did we get
June
a
the
photo
30th.
with Glenice? We got it, okay.
So we're going to call her every day.
Good, okay.
I'm going to ring her cell phone every day.
Now,
And I'm going to say, hi, Linda. She's going to say, hi, Pastor, what do you want? Absolutely nothing. I just...
Now, the next item on the agenda is recognitions, announcements, and community reports from board members. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, keep, take the sign.
Take the whole thing. We'll write it off.
Take.
Bye, everybody. Glad to leave with a smile.
If you get another Linda Knapp on the board, we're going to need to...
Okay, I'll bring it back for you, okay? Next year when I come back. That's it. I got the roll call. Goodbye, guys.
Let's go around. Mr. Gomez, anything?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. We've had 3 wonderful weeks in our district and our community. We have seen, during the last few weeks, our different schools have had their spring concerts, their band recitals, I've had the opportunity to attend the ones at Monhagen. They've been outstanding. We had the Breakfast of Champions at the high school. And we have the graduation coming up within the following week at our high school, where we are very honored and proud to cheer the class of 2018. And within the Middletown community, the summer camps are underway, so the application is still available. So our Academy Avenue, the Parks Department, parents could go and apply if they wish to enroll their children in the summer camps. YMCA will be holding their annual Camp Sunshine. Within the Middletown city government, during the last 2 weeks, we had two pretty important events. The Middletown Common Council last week did vote to fund the SROs for our school district. And I know that a lot of credit goes to the collaboration between our administration and the city of Middletown for making that happen. Richard Gurn, graduate of Middletown High School, once again stepped up to be Middletown City Court judge. I happened to have been at the ceremony, and it was a very nice occasion. Okay. And also, Orange County just established a crime data analysis center. This was announced this week by the district attorney, Dave Hubler. This is something that could be eventually even helpful to our local school districts as they try to look at different statistics, especially when it pertains to juveniles. And hopefully that could be a benefit down the road in addressing some of the challenges that our youth face, not just in our district, but across our county. And the Fair Funding Committee will be meeting June 25th, 4:30 at the district office, and Mr. Tuttle will continue his outstanding presentation on the unfunded mandates, which we are working vigorously to address. That's all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gomez. Excellent report.
Yes.
Mrs. Tobias.
Thank you, Mr. Perino. I just want to comment on the ice cream social that was held for the honor students at the high school a few weeks back. Once again, the students were extremely, extremely polite, very polite with their thank yous. It's an amazing event. The other thing that I want to comment on, and I think it was touched a little here this evening, is what happens in our community. Stewart's Ice Cream, Stewart's donated all of the ice cream, all of the toppings, and I think that, sometimes we take for granted and we don't realize what others in our community do for the school system. Additionally, there were prizes given away, and the Texas Roadhouse, I think, has been very faithful in supporting prizes for our students, as well as, and I always hate doing this because you leave somebody out. It's impossible to remember everyone that contributed, but the students were recipients of many wonderful prizes. Again, kudos to the staff for the conduct of the students. It's a pleasure to go. It's a pleasure to serve them. And I think we also need to comment on the cafeteria help. They are there right on spot, also with the kids helping. So kudos to everyone that was involved, and it's, as I said, always a pleasure to be there.
Did you mention that you ate too much ice cream? We had to restrict you.
Mr. Perino, you were very late in arriving, and you were very late in handing out, helping, dish out the ice cream. So if I ate some, I do love that vanilla, and I do love that chocolate syrup.
There you go. Mrs. Blumenau.
I'm sorry that Mrs. Knapp left. I just wanted to congratulate her on her retirement from the board and her tremendous work that she's done while she's been a parent here in Middletown, and also, of course, her progression to the school board. As I was thinking about it before the meeting, Linda really has been such a mentor to me in my own experience on the school board, and I hope at some point that she watches this and knows that I will truly miss her here, and also for her support. So I don't really have anything as far as anything else, but I just wanted to wish Mrs. Knapp congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Blumenau. Mr. Crescenzo.
Well, I made the mistake of trying to keep up with Mr. Perino with the hundreds of different events going on in the district in the last 3 weeks or so. But I did go to the Maple Hill, Monhegan, and Twin Towers National Honor Society induction, and that was really an inspiring event. You see these young faces, these young children, and what they've accomplished to get there. And the way the presentations worked, the students ran it. They did the whole thing, and they just did an amazing job. But just looking at them and what they needed to do to get there, you realize how hard they worked. But even more than that, the faculty and staff and everyone involved in this district that helped them to get there. But even more important than that are the families. And looking at those faces, you can tell they're going to go places, but you looked in the audience and you saw the smiles on the parents' faces and the guardians and what have you, and it was just a really heartwarming, just a wonderful, wonderful thing to witness. Now, I don't want to embarrass you, Mr. DelMoro, but honestly, I just found this. It's 5 months ago we started the superintendent search, and the day you said yes was the best night's sleep I got as a Board of Education member. It says the preferred characteristics for a superintendent of the enlarged city school district of Middletown. There are 20 points here. I'm not going to go through them all, but ability to clearly identify problems and develop effective solutions. A person of unquestioned integrity, Mr. DelMoro. Reflective thinker, not impulsive. Committed to involving others in decision-making. This is the big one. Displays positive, can-do attitude with a good sense of humor. That's your hallmark. Successful experience as a central office administrator. Strong background in instruction and student achievement. Experience in using recruitment, selection, and evaluation of staff to strengthen the organization. And it goes on. So thank you. Thank you for taking this position. We didn't stop, didn't stall, didn't stumble. We're moving forward as we would expect, and we're in very, very good hands. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kritzenz. I appreciate it. I look forward to working in this new role. It's been an interesting 4 months as interim, but with your support and the board's support, I know we can do greater things and build upon our successes because we have a committed collaboration between the board, administration, teachers, and very importantly, parents and community members, as displayed over the events that Mr. Gomez was talking about, and other board members, Pastor Williams, etc., working together as a team. We cannot miss for our kids. We really cannot. Look forward to it. Thank you.
And lastly, Tracy, I have to send my regrets. I won't be at the graduation the end of next week. May 11, 2011, my friend and neighbor, Frank DeGeorge, passed away from ALS. His wife was Ken Eastwood's executive secretary for a couple of years, and that put me on a mission. So for the last 8 years, Andy Warren and I now are we raise money for ALS research. We ride our bicycles from Boston to Greenwich, Connecticut, 280 miles over 3 days. And last year, this organization raised $800,000 in that 1 year. It's been in effect for 12 or 13 years, and they've raised well over $4 million during that time. So my regrets, this is the answer. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Nice job, Mr. Crescenzo. Thank you. Bishop Williams.
First, I also want to congratulate Mrs. Knapp on her. I know she's not here, but congratulate her on her retirement. She has earned my 5 years of being on the board. She has earned my respect and my admiration. So we wish her the best in her retirement from the board. Also, congratulations to Mr. DelMoro. We finalized this tonight. One of the things I said to Mr. DelMoro when we first agreed to the interim position, one of the things I said to him was, be the best Richard DelMoro that you can be, because I have 100% faith in you, and so I'm very pleased that you accepted the position to come on as our superintendent on the regular basis I have no doubts that we're moving forward. I have no doubts that your being a part of this process has brought continuity and has brought peace to the minds of many people within the district as well as in the community. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Very glad
My
to
pleasure.
have you.
Grateful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And lastly, Monday, on this past Monday, we had the opportunity to attend at the Middletown High School one of the inaugural events of the My Brother's Keeper program. My Brother's Keeper program is an initiative that was started by President Barack Obama, which deals with mentoring young men of color. And so over the last couple of years, I've had my eye on that particular program. I've interacted with people that I know in other places and other cities that have been operating in that program. And earlier this year, it came to my attention about the grant for this program. I immediately went to Mrs. Creedon, and she and others jumped right on it and began to look into the grant. Although we were not able, because of time-wise, not able to achieve the grant, she was able to begin the start of the planning of bringing this initiative to Middletown. And so with the help of some directed funding and different things that we already had in place, this program, My Brother's Keeper, is now begun in this district. The coordinator for My Brother's Keeper is our Dean of House 5, Mr. Anthony Williams, who I believe is, without question, the perfect person for this type of program. His passion, his commitment to it, his story, his history, his testimony is without question perfectly designed for this mission. The event on Monday was a great event. We had turnout from community members, business owners, board members, future mentors, as well as, I believe it was 11 young men that are the inaugural members of this particular program. The speaker, Mr. Angel Acosta, who happened to be one of the classmates of Mr. Williams at SUNY Plattsburgh, was absolutely phenomenal. His sharing of where he came from, his testimony, was without question something that I think that all of us that were sitting in that room could identify with. It's important to note that when you are dealing with young men of color, that they need to see somebody that they can identify with. They need to hear the stories of what you've gone through and what you've experienced in order to get to where you get to the goal. And so it was an absolutely wonderful program, absolutely wonderful event. Mr. Perino was there, as well as many others. And so I am excited about where we're going. I'm excited about what we're being done. To my knowledge, this is the first time, and granted, I'm a 1982 graduate of Middletown. 1982 graduate of Middletown. I'm third generation Middletown. My mother graduated from Middletown in 1949. My sisters graduated in 70 and 71. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that we've ever had anything like this in this community. And I think that the impact with this program and with other programs that are part of this district now, I see nothing but greatness on the horizon. And so I'm grateful to just be a small cog in the wheel, to be a small part of it. But I do want to express my gratitude to Mrs. Creedon and Mr. Williams and Mrs. Sorrentino for getting this kicked off and off the ground. And of course, I'm in with both feet, both hands, and, everything. So we're going to make this happen. We're going to make it work for the betterment of our young men in this community. I see their parents. I know their parents. I know their stories. I know some of the struggle that they come through. But I'm so glad that at the end of the day, every struggle can lead you to a greater victory. And so that's it for now. There's so many other things that's going on in the district. We can't talk about it all, but graduation next week, and so we're excited about that. I'm not going to Barbados this year, so I want to stay close by because I have five graduates coming from my church, so I want to stay close by this year, and I'll go to Barbados after.
There you go.
All right. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Bishop Williams, for taking the initiative in investigating that program, and I know you stay right on this, and it will be a great success because of your leadership and Mr. Williams.
Mrs. Creedon is doing
Leadership
the
and
real
Mrs.
legwork,
Creedon.
though. She's
Right,
doing the
well-
real legwork.
Mr. Williams has really done all of the work to get folks connected, and he's done all of that.
I think it's great. I guess it's my turn. I did something a little different this year as a sum up. And Russ, I want to thank you. I'm going to go to the mic. These are some of the things we spoke about, items going on in the district, and we can go through these fast. The academic awards, the staff of each of our buildings shows a total commitment to our students. There's support from the parents in this district. In addition to commitment of the staff, to achieve this, the students are working very hard. We sometimes say, well, students don't work anymore. Not true. If you see all the people gaining these accolades and awards. Okay, Russ, we can go right through these. Go ahead. Yep. Honor Society, Vince spoke about that. And the elementary honor societies, Maple Hill, Carter Honor Society. There'll be a Honor Society inauguration at Presidential. And again, the people work hard. I see the staff members spend many, many extra hours with the students. Okay, go ahead. Yep. NJOTC, 2018 graduates. We have one of our students going in who was accepted in West Point, and that is Tracy. Michael Jones accepted in West Point, and I saw him at the track banquet, and he will do very, very well. Commander Wall and Master Sergeant Williams do a great job. That organization, I think this year, has put in over 6,000 hours of community service. 6,000 hours over that. Go ahead, Russ. Thank you. Graduation ceremony, the Academy of Finance, Academy of Technology project Lead the Way. If all people, and I wish all people could see our third floor and the collaborative learning space of that new building. And the collaborative learning space attracts sometimes over 80 students in the afternoon. Is that correct? Yeah, Tracy said that's correct. Go ahead, that's fine. All the spring concerts, too many to mention. But, one thing about the music department, there's a lot of good things about our music department, but they help each other. If you see you'll see instructors from, for example, Maple Hill helping at the presidential conference, instructors from Carter helping at the middle school conferences concerts, on and on. student recognition dinner at BOCES, the honorees. That was a nice time. For that, Matthew Quimby and Alan's son, I think Matthew's average was 101 point something, and Alan's son was right up there too. And you know what's amazing about these kids is that they're well-rounded. They're not only great students, but they engage in all kind of extracurricular activities. The various breakfasts, Breaking the Barriers, another good program in the district. Go ahead, Russ. The Academic Awards, that's an old shot of Twin Towers, I think, taken from one of the old yearbooks. So you get an idea. This past Sunday, the George Marshall, the Ruthie Dino run walk, and 550 registered entrants, 470 finishers, and I must say that Gordon Dean always finishes near the top, and one of our students came in third. One of the NJOT students, I forgot who that was. And I must say that every year, Donna, Jenna, Carol, and I were one of the organizers 22 years ago that's helped in organizing this. And I must say the course gets longer every year. And whoever came in first, I know I came in near the last. But what can you do? And notice the money used for scholarships for MHS students as well as helping students in the district. It's really a YMCA district program. Y sort of takes the leadership role in this. Go ahead. Anything else? Beauty and the Beast, another play, Maple Hill. Great job on that. Again, the students spend a lot of time on these plays and performances. So you kind of get the idea. Continue, that's okay. I think that's it. You get the idea of the spate, as Vince said, the spate of activities in this district. Concerts, plays, breakfasts of champions, the programs that Bishop Williams was talking about, our Brother's Keeper. So let the good times continue. Keep the programs going. Let's increase the programs in this district. Thank you. Thanks, Russ, for doing that. Opportunities to address the board? Anyone? Once, twice, going on that one. Any letters? No. All right. Personnel action items. If there's no objection, I'd like to have an approval of personnel memorandums 25A, 25B, 25C, 25D, 25E, 25S, and 25G. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? Again, we have all this personnel information long before the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now, the next is the introduction of personnel. Mr. DelMoro?
Yes, we do have an introduction this evening. We do have an introduction this evening. In the audience, we have one of our new high school counselors, returning, I must add, in a family affair, Ms. Lauren Cutler. Mrs. Sorrentino, will you guys can come up to the microphone. As you are approaching the microphone, I'd like just to remind everybody that Lauren's mother worked for our school district. Mrs. Knapp was an administrator and a teacher in our district for a number of years and received the principalship in another school district. But Lauren has been a counselor in the high school, and then needed to take a little hiatus, if you will, to rear her twin children, and now is ready to return back to the workforce. And just to give you an insight into the work ethic of Lauren, before I have Mrs. Sorrentino to extol her other attributes, that Lauren decided to come back on her own just to get her field back in to the work experience and the changes that have taken place since merely just a few years ago. By coming, when the boys were put into child care, play camp, came over to the high school on her own accord and spent 4 or 5 hours on every Tuesday trying to get herself back up to speed, if you will. And I have no doubt that that work ethic will definitely expand and to meet many of the things that we talked about at the high school that is going on. I have no doubt that she will be a force within My Brother's Keeper program. I know it's dear to her heart from other work that she worked in other committees. So I don't want to take all of it away from Mrs.
Well, thank you, Mr. DelMoro. Good night, everybody. Peace out. See you at graduation.
Welcome, Mrs. Sorrentino.
Thank you, Superintendent DelMoro, President Perino, and members of the board. 3 years ago, I was just back to MHS. I had known Lauren and Mom for a long time, and I was greeted on the staircase by a very hysterical young lady with a box saying, I don't want to go. I have to go, but I don't want to go. I want to be a part of Middletown. And I said, relax. Babies grow. They go to school. And I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to have Lauren rejoin us over the spring, gaining insight into Common Core and requirements and pathways and a bunch of stuff we're going to go through next year in regard to graduation. And it was refreshing to have her spirit back. She is a gem, to say the least. Her compassion towards students, her compassion toward our students, her depth and breadth of knowledge, and her ability to connect and grow high school students and bring them to achievement. So I'm very excited to not only have her back, but she'll be as the new counselor going to all of the Breakfast of Champions breakfasts that start at 6:50 every morning and 4 times a year. She didn't know that part. But please join me in welcoming back to the MHS family, Lauren Cutler.
Thank you all so much, members of the board, Mr. DelMoro, Mrs. Creedon, Mr. Tuttle. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm grateful to be back. I feel like I'm home again, and I'm excited to get going and working with the students and just having a wonderful year and enjoying them. That's really the best the students. So thank you so
Welcome
much.
back. Mrs. Brissy's, yeah. No. But she's going to do some changes.
Okay. I just want to know.
Okay.
You used to see my face. I'm around all the time.
What's that?
All right. Okay. Next, thank you for coming. Have a good evening and have a good weekend. Yes. Superintendent's report, Mr. DelMoro.
Certainly. Before I get into the planned report for this evening, I just want to remind the Board of Education, as well as all of our community out there watching and listening to us here this evening, on Saturday, as another extension of what you were talking about, Mr. Perino, on Saturday, June 16th, at the high school, will be the 10-year celebration of our strings program. The strings teachers came to our office to ask about the possibility of putting together a celebration in honor of the program that has grown tenfold, if you will, from its inception of about 200 students to right now with just below 800 students, about 770 students in the program actively participating. and all of them have been invited to participate in a long and worthwhile workshop approach to explain and show and demonstrate to parents and community members and whoever comes out, and I invite everyone to do. It's going to be a phenomenal display of skill and perseverance and entertainment. Starting around 8:45 in the morning, William A. Carter will go on first, and then all the way to the end of the afternoon of 2:45 till end at around 4:30, the high school. So we'll post this again on the website so that every community member in each school community will be able to know when their school participates. About an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes or so for each school. And we're looking forward to this 10-year celebration. So I wanted to make everyone aware of that. In front of you, you have the schedule of when schools will be participating. Tonight's report is on the status of what is going on at the high school regarding what we call pre-fuel of the nourishment in our breakfast program before the school day starts. Yes, traditionally we have the serving line in all of our schools, but we started to see a decrease in participation at the high school. As we all know, that high school students may not have the best get up and go early in the morning in terms of their first period, 7:35, and obviously breakfast would be served before that period of time. So in working with the American School Administrators Organization, who provided us with a $13,000 grant, we purchased 4 vending machines. We have one on the second floor, one on the third floor, and 2 vending machines in the lobby outside of the media center. They are able to access them as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, and they work until about 8:30 in the morning. Students has a double identification process. They put their student ID in there and then their birthday in there, and they have free access to the foods. Some of the food items include yogurt parfaits, which is the most favorite, muffins, things of that nature, a granola-type bar, nutritional bar. What's interesting to note, since the inception, which started around mid-April, about April 11th, April 12th, we have increased participation at the high school breakfast by 50%. This past May, there were over 7,000 breakfast served through the vending machines alone. Now, not only are these machines available for breakfast, but also after school for our collaborative programs. In May, we had 142 after-school snacks from these vending machines. So they're averaging about 330 participants each day. There's about 22 days in a month averages it out. If you divide that into 7,000, you get about 333 participations. So this is really working really well. Students have really honed into the accessibility and the, how should I say, the enjoyment of the fact of getting the food through the vending machines and what the selections are. We are looking to expand that. Small steps move quickly. So we have just started the concept to discuss it with the middle school principals. I know the next question is about elementary. Let's move slowly to move quickly. So the program has worked really, really well, so much so that there was an article in this Food Management talking about Middletown school district and the vending machines, about using the machines, and how other school districts who are experiencing the same problems that we were, that high school students weren't really availing themselves to the traditional breakfast lines. They're still open. Students still choose to use them, but I think it was very important to share with our community and to the board about what's going on in our schools to meet all different needs, and obviously another activity that is going on really well. So I wanted to share that with you all. Any questions? Yes.
Will this also be done for summer school or just for the regular school year?
No, it'll be for summer school.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have it for summer school.
It's a great program, and we have a great management lunch team there with Debbie Dunleavy and Lauren Burr. They come up with all kinds of ideas, and this is just another one of them. Anything else on this?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did you?
I want to commend Dr. DelMoro and the administration for this great program. I think our school is being a leader in acknowledging that a healthy meal goes hand in hand with learning. And without those vitamins, it's hard to get your car moving. So we need that's the fuel our kids need.
That's exactly right.
And I commend our district for for its leadership in this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. On to action items. Action item A, approve of resolution to authorize standardization in sole source procurement, which was on board docs. Motion to approve the resolution as presented.
So moved.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Approval of financial memorandum number 28. Motion to approve financial memorandum 28 as presented.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approval of special service memorandum number 24.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Approval of the amended Board of Education meeting calendar. Motion
moved.
approved. Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you want to explain when it is or not, Mr. Fano?
Mr. DelMoro, do you want to
Certainly.
take care of that?
Next Board of Education meeting will be on Thursday, June 28th. It'll be at the Central District offices. Oh, the change in the summer program?
Yes, for July.
Oh, for July. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the additional one.
Well, that's fine, yep.
The change in the summer calendar was due to vacation periods, so that I believe it's July 28th is going to be 27? Sorry, 26. I knew it was close. So July 26th will be our Board of Education meeting. The first one will be July 5th and July 26th in July. So that's the change. Because of summer vacations, we want to be all present for the meeting, and that was the sole reason for the change. But I was a little premature about June 28th, the next meeting, so I saved Mr. Perino an announcement at the end.
Okay, well, you did, thank you.
There you go.
And everybody deserves a vacation, so that's good. So we have a first, second, we've had discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Approval of standard workday and reporting resolutions for elected and appointed officials. Motion to approve standard
moved.
workday. Second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Second opportunity to address the board. Mr. Wilcox? No, okay. Mr. Scott? No, okay. So, no one else around, so we'll go on to the next report, which is the committee reports, and Mr. Crescenzo, Chair of the Audit Committee.
All right,
Take it away.
you got it. We have to approve the, let's see, where are we here? The audit committee minutes and the meeting schedule for the next school year. So I need a motion for the approval of the audit committee minutes of April 12th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. I need an approval for the meeting schedule for the audit committee for the school year 2018-2019. And again, all of these things are in our board docs.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Thank you, Mr. Cosenzo. Thank you for the work on the audit committee this year.
That was hard.
Next is roundtable. Anything new and compelling?
Well,
Uh-oh.
is this Mr. Wilcox's last meeting?
No.
He's still got it.
Forget, erase what I just said. Thank you.
Got one more?
Okay. Well, I just didn't want you to get away without us saying thanks.
We're gonna have a roast.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah. I think we're gonna send you off in style, Bill. Send you off in style. We're gonna have a roast.
Got it.
I'll give you your special apple.
Mr. Gomez, anything new and compelling?
Yes, I'll keep it brief. I just want to say it's been truly an honor to complete my first year as a member of the board and work alongside such wonderful and outstanding members of the board. I think this has been a year of tremendous milestones for our district. And we've accomplished everything from being able to enter the final steps in saying goodbye to the Memorial School building in a way that will be beneficial and rewarding to our community, to keeping our tax levy at the lowest, to taking strong steps to ensure our children's security and our school staff security in our buildings. I've been truly honored to have been part of this process. And again, I congratulate our Superintendent, Dr. DelMoro, for his outstanding work as interim superintendent, and not only in carrying forward his vision, but building upon the accomplishments of Dr. Eastwood as well. And as well, I want to take this opportunity to express my best wishes to Ms. Knapp in her post-school board years, and I know that she will continue to be a wonderful asset to our community.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Anything else new and compelling?
Thank you.
So with that, I ask for a motion to adjourn, as Mr. DelMoro said, the next meeting.
Yes, next meeting, June 28th.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it. See you the 28th. Thank you. Thank you, fellas.
And the 28th is at the board office.
Board office. 28th at the board office. Thank you, members of the technology department.